Hi Cindy, we're waiting until 6:20 to start just to get people another minute or two to join.
No worries. Sorry, I'm a minute late. I had to jump off another meeting. I hope one of these days to be able to come join you in person. I really do like in person.
We've got a nice big boardroom set up at the library.
I have been known to join meetings remotely on my phone as I'm driving there and just listen in and then show up halfway through.
I've done that too. Yeah.
Right.
For one of these.
Sometimes I have two meetings at the same time.
Right, yeah.
Be like, listen to someone,
Mhm.
and acting with the other one.
Yeah.
Don't to be multitasker,
Right.
Hey, Cindy. Cindy, is Randy back here? You probably can't hear me.
I was just looking and wondering if that was you sitting back there. I'm just like, is that Randy? Is she on this board? Are you on this?
No, I'm not on the board. I just show up and harass everybody.
Oh, okay.
I was expecting to harass you.
Lori also said she was gonna be here, so.
Just a little bit, or
Yeah, she didn't say.
I wasn't sure if you told her the time. or not.
No, she just said, I'm gonna be late, hopefully not too much.
Okay.
Anyway, my plan is to be in the office before 9 AM. I'm trying to get there early too, to see if they'll start early. Cause I saw, they're like, other than that, we can't get you in for a few weeks. And they offered to do it at the same dentist I was going to, and I said, no, get me somewhere else, please. And I think the dentist was a little offended.
Oh, yeah, just check.
Yeah, he blew it. All right, I will go ahead and start the meeting then. Thank you guys all for joining. We've definitely got more than quorum, so very exciting. Just a couple of announcements. So I wanted to introduce Sophie, so I'll let her introduce herself, but she is in charge of administering the ECBG program, which is, you guys kind of went through the process, I believe, last year of choosing those projects. But I'll let her introduce herself and talk a little bit about that grant.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Thank you, Lisette. As she said, my name is Sophie Salat, and yeah, I'm here to oversee the ECBG grant with Lisette. And so, yeah, I've just started a couple of weeks ago, but I'm enjoying it so far. And at this point in time, we've really just gotten started with the WPD animal shelter retro commissioning. We're working on the request for proposal for that, so hopefully that can get out here soon so that we can find a vendor to start doing that retro commissioning process. and provide us with some like project recommendations to actually meet those energy reduction goals, which we set at 10% for that project. And then we're also working on to draft a contract with SCED so that SCED can, we can sub-grant some money to them as well to do some more weatherization in Wichita. And yeah, so yeah, I am a military brat, so I moved around a lot growing up. But I actually used to live in Leavenworth, Kansas, and then I went to school. I'm at the University of Missouri, so back in Kansas, and yeah,
Missouri ST or University of Missouri?
the University of Missouri.
Yeah, I got my degree from Missouri ST.
Oh, really?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Sophie actually is doing an awesome job and she's drafting a web page to update about ECBG. So that should be available on our sustainability page here in the coming week, hopefully, once we get her access to be able to edit that web page. So if you want any updates, we'll try and make sure to give you guys updates regularly. But if you want to just look online and look a little bit more about that program, that should be on our website here soon. All right, okay, and then a quick climate action plan update. Do you want to?
Yeah, I can talk.
Okay.
So in October, we're going to be going to the district advisory board meetings. We've already started getting on the agendas for those. So if you are one of the district reps, we'd love to have you at your DAB meeting to kind of back us up. And we'll obviously do the presentation, but if you're there to help answer maybe questions that have about what the process was like on the sustainability integration board side and other things like that, we'd love to have you there. And if you need to know like the dates and times, if you don't usually attend, just let me know and I can get you the meeting.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Do you
Yeah.
have the schedule already worked out?
Yeah, at least they've got their times posted. I've only heard back from one officially that we're going to theirs, but we're gonna be on the agenda, I think, at all the ones in October. So
Is it District 1? Probably District.
actually, I heard back from District 4 first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
But yeah, we should be fine to present all of this month. And we've got a survey available on the website now, along with the draft action plan to kind of collect feedback that way as well. So if you go to the sustainability page, you'll see it right at the top. And then on some of the other updated pages, it's also repeating there on the sustainability board page, on the city effort pages as well. So hopefully we catch
It's
it.
open to the public, is this
Yep.
okay?
Yes.
Everybody should take it.
So I will send that out
I
to
will send
tomorrow
Chris
morning.
responses, yeah.
Yep, I'll send that out. I realized I forgot because I think Lauren had actually asked me, we actually just got it up, was it late last week? Yeah, late last week. So I'll send out the link for the survey and for the plan if you guys want to look at it. It's officially available online. We went through the approval process internally. So.
But yeah, you can also look it up and it's on there already too. Yeah, so then if you have any other groups you think would be interested in hearing about the climate action plan draft, feel free to contact me and Lisette and we'll be happy to come present on it. If any of our other board reps beside the district reps want us to share with their boards, or if you wanna kind of report back on it to them and get people taking a survey and get feedback from them directly, that's fine too, but we're happy to kind of facilitate that as well. I think that's everything update wise there.
I had contacted Alan Kaler at the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Board. You were on that email list, so I mean, hopefully he's gonna be able to schedule that time. I don't know if in October, but you know, at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, October, November. Yes, I was on that email, so just waiting to hear back to see if we'll make it on the agenda and which one,
Okay.
which month it'll be. But thank you. I appreciate you starting that conversation.
Sure.
Next item, so we are still looking for people to volunteer for open streets. Thank you, Ibrahim, for volunteering, and Lori also volunteered. We are looking for a few more people just so we can talk about the climate action plan, the survey, or just talk about the sustainability board in general. We have a table for you guys set up already, so just needing a few more volunteers if you're available that day on October 13th. It goes from 12 to 5. So if you have an hour or two to come in, talk about the climate action plan, we'd really appreciate it. You can just send me an email and let me know. But for those of you who have already volunteered, thank you so much. All right.
I have something that I didn't have on the agenda, but
Sure.
I went to a EPA grant workshop today and they have officially announced that one of their next grant programs is going to be accessible to nonprofits, local governments, a lot of other groups. The environmental, oh no, it's EJ Thriving Communities Grant Makers Program, and they're doing sub grants through this. It's going to be opening up on October 15th, so just in a couple weeks. I wanted to give you all a heads up and kind of put on your radar. If you've got nonprofits you work with, you've got other groups, this would be a smaller grant. So awards are going to be ranging from about $100,000 to $300,000, depending on which part of the program you're looking at. You can just do planning. You could do actual implementation of a program. There's a few different options with it. The EPA has some of this information available right now on one of their websites, but the full amount of information will be out on October 15th, and I'll try to update you guys in October on kind of what that looks like. If you've got ideas that maybe you'd want to see the city do some kind of project, look at a grant application for this, I'd be happy to hear about those. There's quite a few topic areas listed. I'll give you a few of them just to kind of see if any ideas spark, but there's things around air quality and monitoring, things around water quality and sampling, improving food access, stormwater issues and green infrastructure, lead and asbestos, pesticides and other toxic substances, programs around healthy homes, making them more energy and water efficient and making them have good indoor air quality. Illegal dumping activities are something that is also eligible, emergency preparedness and disaster resilience, and then also environmental job training and environmental justice training for youth. So there's a ton of different topics, and I don't think it's limited to these either that I read off. There are other areas as well that they would probably accept grants and projects in. But if you've got ideas for kind of smaller scale projects that you're wanting to see done, you can work with me or with local nonprofits as well, because they're also eligible. I think higher education institutions are also eligible to apply. I'd have to look. There's one more group I think that's eligible, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Yes, this is.
Hey, we should talk. We should definitely talk. I have lots of ideas.
All right, I love to hear it, Cindy.
And also for our, one of the items we have today is potential solution for the water energy sustainability. So we might need fund and resources to support any project we end up, So
Yes.
this might be like a window for us, to draft the proposal. What are the requirements for the proposal, like a lengthy proposal or?
I don't have any of that yet. We won't know that until they release the full funding opportunity on the 15th.
Okay.
But it can be, I think it's supposed to be more accessible and a little bit of a smaller application than some
Sure.
federal grants are generally, because you won't be applying directly to the EPA with this. They have it's called Research Triangle Institute. They're the sub-grantor that's gonna actually, you're applying to them. And so it's supposed to be a little bit less burdensome for.
I worked with RTI before, on one of the project for the water.
Okay, yeah, well, that's who our grant maker's gonna be for this region.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, so hopefully we can leverage this, if it works with one of our solutions to make kind of a pilot plan demonstration.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely be open to that.
So Ethan, I think kind of to Cindy's point, if we have ideas, what's the best way to move those to get onto your radar?
Well, so I think we can, if you guys want to start emailing us ideas to Ethan and I, and then we'll start compiling those. And then I think maybe when we get more information on the 15th, we can talk about it at the October meeting, and potentially I can send out those ideas and then we can have a discussion based on, the information about the grant, just to make sure that the ideas that are being proposed are within the confines of the grant. But yeah, if you guys just want to start sending those, or if you want to have a meeting to kind of talk about those, feel free to email Ethan and I. We'll be happy to kind of compile those for you guys.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna request a meeting.
That's good, Cindy.
Sounds good.
I'm trying to get stuff done in 67214, and there's a lot of things that need to be done.
All right. Okay. So actually, I'm going to pass it over to Ben, who has an update from the Transit Advisory Board.
Yeah, so I was unfortunately unable to get to the last meeting, but I got the agenda and the minutes from the meeting before. And so things that Transit are working on that are related to Sustainability Integration Board. So we've got 4 main things we're tackling right now. The biggest one is the multimodal center, which is the new transit hub that's going to be just west of the baseball stadium. There's a lot of sustainable features of that. It's going to be bikes, scooters, buses, cars, everybody can go there and go to where they need to go. And so that is in progress. And the second biggest thing is the network redesign, which is where all the buses go across the city. And so it's been a year plus long process simultaneously with the multimodal center, to redesign what frequency the buses go, where they go. And all of that, and so that is ongoing. They've had community meetings and input, they have, we've presented draft plans, so, and now it'll be up to transit to implement them. The third thing that we got going is just a general code of conduct for riders. We don't really have a substantial one right now, and so that's an ongoing process. We're discussing with legal, coming up with drafts for that too, and also a smoke-free policy. And so, right, Lori?
Duh.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's, it's basically beefing up the existing one, which was barely one, so, but getting that through the official process, it's taking longer than we expected, but we're pushing on that. And so that is it for transit. And I emailed Raven, who is like grants manager for transit. She's everything transit. She's teaching Penny transit while Penny becomes full-fledged director. Yeah. So Raven knows about the climate action plan, draft climate action plan, and so we will work on a time to have that presented to the transit advisory board at a future date.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for getting that started for us. Yeah, I do, thank you, Ben, for giving that update on transit. I do kind of want to get back into that. I think that's kind of the point of the way SIP was made, to have the people who are from other boards to report on those boards pretty regularly. So I think I'm gonna start making a place on the agenda just so people can report out if they have anything to report out. So I guess at this moment, I'll ask if anyone else from another board would like to have anything to report out. Actually, I think Russell, you might be the only one from another board. Oh, yeah, and Cindy.
I don't think I have anything to report out from advanced plans or the planning commission or subdivision or anything like that that I can think of. But next month I'll try to bring something.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I kind of caught you off guard there. All right, yeah, so just FYI, I think for next month, I'll probably add that to the agenda, and then if you do, awesome. If not, not a big deal. Okay, next will be approval of minutes. So they're gonna be the August 28th minutes. Can I get a motion or does anyone have any, I guess, changes to them or any edits?
I did not see any changes. I will move to approve the
Second.
minutes.
Awesome. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, looks like they're approved. Okay. And then for discussion items, we have the potential suggestions for water energy sustainability. So I will pull up that document.
I don't know if anyone else sent you what theirs were, but I know I did. I may have to look through my sent mail, because remember we were gonna do this once before and then you weren't here.
Sorry, bad, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear I don't remember seeing.
I thought I sent some to you. Maybe I don't.
We had like
Pretty sure I
9
did.
solutions, and everyone has to pick 3 as a top priority.
Yeah.
And it's a purpose just to evaluate that.
So if you guys remember, this was kind of a few months ago. We were given a presentation, which I have pulled up as well. And then there was different potential projects. There was talk about, having your favorite 3 or the 3 that you thought would be most viable, or the 3 that you felt really strongly about. And then kind of talking about them and seeing if there's one that you can move forward with. So I'll let you guys kind of discuss that or share your thoughts.
We have already talked about installing solar upon existing buildings. And water treatment would be an excellent spot for that. They could have done that when they built it. since it's brand new, but it shouldn't be that difficult, I wouldn't think. Because they've got good structure, you know, it's a brand new building. So they wouldn't have to worry about the roof probably.
Yeah. So when I propose these 9 solutions for the sustainability for the water and the energy, it's a point behind that just to save water, you know. As is the main problem we have without water, there is no development, you know. And we did see that going on as a big problem right now in Kansas in general about water level, you know, dropping, and also relying on the groundwater, adding some challenges in terms of salt contamination, you know. So the more you take water out from the underground, you start to evaporate the water, salt start to build on the soil, will make a lot of challenges, you know. And you can compensate that by adding more of fertilizers and other stuff, so adding chemicals, you know, to take this out of the equation. That's why I may start first, you know. When I started make the solutions, I proposed something called like a floating solar panels. And the floating solar panels is something we can have 2 products out of that. The first product, you generate electricity, you know, so you can feed this back to the grid. And in the meantime, you start to conserve the water. So when you expose the reservoir area to the sun for X hours, from the morning to the sunset, you evaporate water, you know. Like for example, like a lot of researchers, they said that if the United States start to cover 30% of the reservoir areas, we've been able to generate around 5 to 6 trillions gallon of water, you know, save it as a saving water and generate around 1900 terawatt hour, you know. This is like a fifth of the global. So this is something we should look for that, you know. But in the meantime, some people say, oh, if you have floating solar panels, you may impact the marine life by taking the light out from the water. But due to the new R&D, there is like new generations of the solar panels called like transparent solar panels, you know. So this can allow the sun to travel. So we don't block the light from the marine life. So still we are good. And in the meantime, get the purpose of the solar panels, you know. So number 1 should be my key bag, but we all busy, you know, so we need kind of engagement with the community. So for project like that, we may get in touch with community colleges, you know, with the schools in Wichita. A lot of students, you know, they have like a senior projects, so they can get in touch with us, work on that, and this will elevate the awareness of the community, you know. Every student has a family, every family has friends, so we start to have easy marketing for our board activities and sustainability, you know, and this will come for number 7, you know. And Nathan, he mentioned today about the funding, you know, so we need fund and resources to support that. So if we have like a proposal, I can take the initiative to write the proposal. I did this many times. So we can target EBA, Department of Energy, NSF, other organizations, you know, they can support something like that. And also when we work with the community colleges or schools, they have a lot of good people with some ideas, you know, they can help us to make optimization for the solar panels, work around that, you know. I would try to start simple, you know, a small project, you know, 100 or 200, 400 square feet coverage, you know, and start see the outcomes and monitor the progress, you know. So for me, I will go with number 1 as a technology. Number 7 is the community engagement, which we needed. Number 9 is research and innovation, you know. So we can make a good connection between these 3 pillars, you know. Yeah. You can go to my slides. I can, one of the slides I shared is how it looks like floating solar panels. Maybe slide number 8. Not 8, sorry, I keep going down. Yes, number 11. You know, this is how it looks like, you know. I know in California they did that, and in some overseas countries in some do this, you know. Yeah.
I remember reading about how they were covering the LA, it was like 2015 or so.
Yeah.
How they covered the LA,
Yes.
Los Angeles reservoir to reduce
This one.
evaporation.
This one.
Yeah,
And some people start to use kind of a black balls,
Yeah,
you know,
uh-huh,
but it is a best black balls,
like ball pit balls, but black, colored black.
you know, to do that too, you know, but I like the idea of using the mix of traditional panels
Mhm.
and the new generations called transparent panels, you know, which you can, we don't need to damage the marine life, you know, even to try to have kind of a gap between this arrays of solar panels, as you can see underneath the solar surface, kind of light coming in, you know, but we can achieve balance between these two concepts. Yeah.
What is it? Cheney evaporates third of an inch every day?
So when we're talking about solar energy, something like a solar unit, you know, the solar unit is around 1,000 watt per square meter, you know. This one is equivalent to generate water around 1 to 1.4 liters evaporated, you know. So during the peak of the day, you know, when we
Yeah.
have between 11 to 2 p.m., this you have higher solar intensity, you know. It can go up to 1,500 watt per square meter, so you can generate more water, you know. That's why we can make that in your home, just a bucket of water, leave it for a few days, start to drops in the level, you know, and you can make the same for the other stuff. But the problem here, you take the fresh water out, leave behind all the impurities, you know, which is another problem we have.
Right.
Yeah. I know in the Permian Basin, people start when they have produced water coming out, they use this concept, you know, just make a passive evaporation, you know, and using something called like a diffuser. This diffuser start to take the water to the air and come back, but that's not good, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And we can map Wichita using NASA solar map, so we can know which area has a higher solar intensity, and we can target this area first, you know, to leverage this free resource, you know. Yeah. The solar panels has a lifetime of 25 years. They're declining every year 3% in terms of the efficiency of converting solar energy to electricity. So this is just some numbers for the capex, you know, if we need to make a good prediction for the project. Yeah.
And these would essentially be these strategies would be used on the raw water storage, not necessarily treated water storage.
Yes, like all the water bodies we have, you know, like lakes,
Retention ponds.
whatever you have, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The industrial sites around here do have large retention ponds for firefighting purposes. So we've got one down at Spirit.
I think we do.
We do. It's quite big.
Well, okay, so, okay, that makes me think. So what are the obstacles that we're gonna run into if, you know, we center this kind of proposal? So I mean, obviously you've got, you know, issues of cost and
Yes.
so we've got to address all those. But let's think about, you know, some of these other more specific obstacles. Like, okay, so you just mentioned they have them for firefighting purposes. Okay, so are we going to get people who are, you know, going to be concerned about, okay, so, I mean, what kind of machinery do we need to bring in there in order to actually lay these out? Do we have to retain access to that machinery, you know, if we need to remove it? What about, you know, access to that water source? I mean, in what way, for example, you know, when you're talking about most of these retaining ponds, you know, to provide water sources, I mean, are there underground pipes that connect to fire hydrants that the fire department would want to be able to connect to? Or, I mean, do they actually need access to the surface? You know, let's talk about these sorts of things. You know, the actual installation of these and, you know, the work and the equipment necessary.
Yeah, that's a good
So I
point.
think I want to point out the value of solar is interconnected behind a meter. Putting solar on a, you know, so what is your goal? If you install solar on a pond or a lake or a retaining pond, where's that energy going? To just install it and pump it on the grid is, that's not good economic sense, right? Solar's value is at a water treatment facility where it's interconnected behind the meter and offsetting the energy use there. So keeping that in mind, it needs to be installed in a way where it's consumed on site.
Well, Spirit, Boeing would have no problem consuming any amount of energy on site.
We do have a lot of computers. But like Cheney, for example, Cheney Reservoir, that would be tough because
And
the
it's a
only
recreational
infrastructure near
lake
there-
too.
yeah.
You don't, right, you wouldn't want to put solar on a recreational lake that people are boating on,
Right.
you know, so. Um,
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, you start talking about usage and maybe we're restricted to solely just retaining ponds. Because, if we're talking about like, the Arkansas River, then, well, people are gonna talk about how they fish in the river. They're gonna talk about how they kayak on the
Sure,
river.
sure, yes.
They're gonna, you got wagon masters with their ferry. They're moving people around the river. So,
So that's
maybe if we just focused on these industrial retaining ponds or the retaining ponds that are built around suburban developments, so forth.
yeah, I agree with you. Like picking a location is very, very critical for success of this project. And again, the main objective for this project is not to generate electricity. Electricity is a byproduct coming out. The main objective to conserve the water, by covering the surface, But yes, if we have a kind of a concern or a bottleneck about where this energy goes, so this is part of the outreach, We need to get like a solid case study, one off taker for this energy and willing to help us to demonstrate something like that.
Like I thought right here, of course, you can't see it online, but this is right north of the zoo. Like
Okay.
right where our new water treatment plant is. There's a ton of like flood retention ponds right near there.
Where are we looking?
So that's 235
Uh-huh.
and there's the zoo right there.
Right.
And all of these kind of industrial flood retention ponds.
Okay.
This might be a good location to start something like that.
Yeah. Could be.
So I just spent 6 months on Advanced Plans Committee dealing with the moratorium that Sedgwick County has against solar energy. And there is so much, the disposal of those panels after their life and where they will be disposed of. The people that live around in the area that don't want the solar panels for a variety of different reasons. The way they look, that was one of the things that we heard. I mean, there was just so many things that we heard around solar energy. Now, I'm totally for alternative sources of energy. I'm just telling you some of the stuff that I heard in the 6 months that we looked at solar energy and trying to deal with that moratorium that the county has. And we made, as a planning commission, a lot of recommendations around that. Despite that, the Sedgwick County didn't want to adopt those. And so we continue to have that moratorium in place. I believe it's still in place until things are resolved around that. The other thing that we talked about in the past and banned from Sedgwick County was wind turbines because of the number of airports that we have in Wichita. They just didn't, even if it was a single wind turbine, because of the airports, we just didn't allow solar energy to be created at all in Sedgwick County. And so I think those are some of the things that we will have to look at, because I think we need sustainable sources of energy. I think we need those alternative sources of energy. I'm just telling you from my perspective in the the community volunteer work that I do, what some of the things that I hear.
We're seeing a disinformation campaign across the country now in counties. And they came here about all the horrible things about solar panels, which much of it is not true.
Yes, I agree.
Much of it is not true.
I agree.
And I know that's what you're hearing, Cindy, because that's what I heard about too. But it's, at least if we could put them on retention ponds, no one can complain. It will not be anywhere near their house. I think they're cool. And I asked.
Industrial retention
Yeah,
funds, you
like
do it
the-
around
Well,
suburban
yeah.
developments,
Hey,
you're gonna get
if-
people who
If
will
you wanna
insist
do
that.
it, but it'll be them, it'll be
There's-
them.
There's a
It'll
big
be them that
pond behind
decides.
Brooks Tract Park. I mean, that's our landfill.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I
It's
mean,
frustrated, it's
Right.
working fine, 25 years, start to expand, make more projects,
Mhm.
even for the cities, this is my point,
Yeah.
And again, it is about water and electricity, this is a byproduct,
Mhm.
it's a byproduct. Use it for lighting, use batteries to store it,
So you pick a particular site.
Yes.
We find a retaining pond by some, industrial site by the landfill or something like that. So we are using that one as a model. So that means what we've got to do is you've got to have, a set of metrics, you've established. So like if the primary goal is to demonstrate water conservation, cutting down on evaporation or whatnot. So we've got to make sure that we have data about that retention pond. What's its rate of evaporation? And, that will enable us, if this gets installed, we will come back and to be able to prove the case. Similar sorts of things could be asked about, power generation. What is the facility that we're going to hook it up to? How are we going to effectively keep track of the energy that's generated? All of that is just gonna be part of the sale job.
exactly.
To convince, people that this is worth doing. And this is all aside from, putting together the proposal for the money that would enable them to actually be built and installed. But, if the goal is, okay, let's start with one and let's, see what the results will be. And we know that the results will be positive because it's taking place in other
Yes.
communities all around the world. But we've got to be able to deliver those positive results locally. So, I wonder if, even before, we start, talking about this more broadly, we ought to already decide upon a location, a location for the first set. And then start talking with, I don't know, people, at Spirit and Cessna and Textron and, talking to them like, okay, how would you guys feel about
Sure,
this?
yes.
And try to get at least, a tentative buy-in from them before we start, going forward and
Yes.
talking about more broadly what we're gonna try to do.
Yeah, this is really important, as you mentioned, like identifies the key operating parameter, key performance indicators. At the end of the day, combining these two parameters, getting something called levelized cost of water, levelized cost of electricity, and this can give the message, Yes, I agree with you, but at least, yeah, we have to agree on which angle we need to go, and I can dig more to get these parameters connected together, And this mainly for it will be mainly function for the water salinity, and the TDS of the water salinity of the water. If you have this with like concentrated brine, different from fresh water, But when you have higher salinity, you have less water activity, evaporation getting harder and harder, That's why identifying the location is the key to build all these parameters, So getting fresh water is an excellent starting for us. So we can have good demonstration, And maybe later we can challenge our world by having like, I will not say dirty water, but challenging water, with many stuff inside.
Like I was thinking challenging water, like the K96 pond. It's at 135 and K96 that you
horseshoe
can
pond,
technically fish in, but you shouldn't eat anything that comes out of it.
kind of like the river,
Yeah.
Is that its name?
horseshoe pond.
I don't know if I've ever.
Yeah, my husband grew up fishing there
Okay.
because he lived right off
I
of the
mean,
side.
I have thought on, I don't know how many dozens of occasions while driving on K96
Mhm.
that I don't actually know how to even get to that.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You have to be
I've never
careful.
actually, it's something that I think while I'm on
Oh.
K96, I've never actually gotten off and
And
tried to
gone
find it. I'm sure I
Yeah.
could find it. but
Yeah.
I've always just driven past and it's like, how does it even get to that place?
In the depths of pandemic, Kiddo and I needed something to do, so you go to the Humane Society and then you just keep going.
Uh-huh.
And
Is
then-
it from the Humane
yeah,
Society?
you go to the Humane Society and just keep going and eventually you'll land there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now I know.
So, There's your tangent for the night.
That's
So
within,
what's-
that's within city limits, isn't it? I mean, even though,
I think so.
you know, the size of any of these installations that we would be likely talking about as a beginner would be small enough not to be tripped up by the county's
Yeah.
moratorium, still probably, you just, to be on the safe side, you don't wanna be outside city limits. I
No.
think this needs to be within.
Within our, yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Well, but that would eliminate the aircraft plants.
Yes.
Oh, would it?
Yeah, none of them are in the city limits. They drew the lines around them.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Even the Beechcraft plant? Interesting.
Sorry, somebody online, were you gonna say something as well?
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think the other thing that we'll need to look at is, of course, you know, you can't just go put that over even a body of water without a conditional use permit. You know, going through that process with the planning commission to get that conditional.
Oh,
use
yeah,
permit.
I mean, there's gonna be, I mean, even if we get buy-in from, the industry or the developer, around which the retaining pond exists, we're at some point gonna have to pitch this to various city boards.
Yes, absolutely.
And so forth. I was just thinking that the first step might be finding, a location
Yeah.
that.
Sure.
we want to first target.
Yeah.
So we can begin to figure out, okay, so how much would installing it here cost? And then go
Yes.
talk to the relevant, property owners around the facility. But so
Yeah.
all of the aircraft facilities would be out.
Yep.
Okay,
They're all outside the city limits.
so,
I mean, there are ponds within city limits that are not generally used for recreational.
oh yeah, I
purposes.
mean, practically every major suburban development has
Right.
one.
Yeah.
But Ben mentioned initially the ponds out there by the water treatment plant.
Yeah.
I mean, why not start there? That's definitely.
Is
city
the water
property.
treatment plant in the city limits?
I think it, I think it is.
I-
right
I-
across from the
I-
zoo.
Yeah, basically
I
across,
saw this one, yeah.
yeah, across
Yeah.
from the
Oh,
zoo.
It's
yeah,
a
it
new
would be.
facility, right?
Yeah, the one that's under construction.
It's
There's
south
also,
of
You
the
can get help from the plant,
Sedgwick
you know.
County Center.
right. There's other
There is.
retention ponds on North Hoover, like near the Brooks landfill,
Uh-huh.
that would ostensibly be city property because the
Yeah.
landfill is.
But where would the electricity go if it produced electricity?
Well, yeah,
We might need to talk with them, if have like golf cars or something where they can charge this batteries,
Yeah.
Whatever they have, I'm not sure what they
I don't
have.
know how sophisticated
maybe
it
about
is up
lighting.
there.
I don't know.
We need to talk to them, 'cause
Seems like a question for Public Works.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Or is it considered parks now?
Which are.
It would be,
you
it would still be
State
public.
park.
works.
The landfill,
Everything's
for the landfill.
landfill.
If they can use this electricity somehow,
Say that they use
Might
some
be.
electricity there. There's not a ton, but it does use electricity.
Oh, at the landfill?
If that's what you're.
I mean, they've got an office building. They're wired there.
They can light the area, so.
Yeah.
They've got a gate that.
They gate that
Closed,
right?
Okay.
Our first solar, it'll be a, 3
One
foot by
panel.
3 foot panel.
I have something that we can make like kind of electrical vehicle charging station,
Oh, there you go.
And feed this one with this electricity, helping the community,
Yeah,
free for charge,
yeah, the electric vehicle owners are
And look at it,
hardcore about
it's
finding
like-
those charging spots. They will park at a
That
landfill
might actually.
if they want, if they
Might
need.
be
Well-
interesting angle.
Make 2 stations,
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
The new Loves has chargers,
On 21st
so they
Street.
would probably go there where they can get food and drink.
Yeah, that's true.
Rather than going to the landfill.
It's interesting where you find them popping up. It's just, it's corporate decisions. The big Wichita mattress outlet,
Oh.
right off of Kellogg.
Yeah,
It's got chargers.
I saw them.
I just thought that was so wild. It's just like, wow, okay.
I said, well, they expect you to take you a long time to.
The Wesley Rehab Hospital, that's been a whole thing right near my house. There's electric charging stations there.
Where is this?
Okay.
Oh, it was a whole thing. I was on the DAB. You wanna go into it, but yeah, Wesley's basically taking over our neighborhood and building what they want.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Put up that
But so
retaining
Wesley's
fence.
taking chargers.
Yeah, there's 2 electric vehicle charging
That's
stations
perfect.
that are right next to my house.
That's perfect.
Wow.
So some things that might work, you know, maybe have like
Yeah.
a slow, affordable rate and cover some maintenance.
Okay, so
expenses.
I think
The
we've
city
got,
is not gonna.
I think we've got some interesting possibilities here. I think that what we should probably do is, I mean, we could just do it all collectively, or we could, you know, create a subcommittee of a couple of people that would just, you know, identify some likely spots. And then we choose one to, you know, to identify who are the people that we need to first approach to talk about that spot, and then we go and do that. And then, you know, once we get at least, you know, some tentative buy-in from them on the basis of whatever data we're able to put together, you know, for timeline, for cost and that sort of thing, then we start, you know, talking about actually putting together a funding proposal, actually, you know, talking to the city council or others about this. So.
Yeah, it sounds good plan.
Were there any other suggestions you guys wanted to talk about today?
I mean, we spent all this time on that one.
Right, yeah, just wanted.
I'm not sure how long the SID chair item would take. It could be a long or short item, depending on.
I think we could take the time to
Conversation.
talk about another one or another couple of them. If people are
Yeah.
interested. I mean, I don't think we would want to invest a lot of, you know, time and effort in planning on how we're going to do all of these. I think we should choose. I think that, you know, the solar panels, the floating solar panels, I mean, we've got an idea about how we could start moving forward constructively on that. Maybe we could take a look at one or two others, but we shouldn't, I think, identify more than two or three for plan, you know, for making plans of action.
Right.
I would like to see us look really at energy efficiency, just knowing, again, I work in solar every day, but one of the things that gets missed is energy efficiency should always come first. Installing and generating power on any facility that we don't know is using energy wisely and efficiently. You know, to me that's a bad choice. So you always start with energy efficiency first. So I think that needs to be prioritized when you
What
look
do we
at
have under number 4?
Upgrade pumps and motors to high efficient models, implement real-time monitoring and control systems, and reduce energy consumption by 20% through efficiency measures. Yeah.
Just drafting, you know, but it's
Yeah.
up to you guys, you know, to build on that.
Yeah, well, and I will say there's definitely some projects the city's already doing around energy efficiency. That's kind of what Sophie's here to work on, is several of those projects. And the stormwater pumps are being looked at right now by the city and county, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Is that a city thing or a county thing, or is it a both thing?
Both.
It's a both. thing.
Okay, so I mean, are they collaborating on it? Do you know, or?
They are working together on it.
So, okay, thinking about pumps, our potable water infrastructure that's under the ground. You know, in recent years, we had pretty major loss of pressure resulting in boil water advisories, blah, blah, blah. Do we have, like, across the city, do we have pressure monitoring, like, stations? So like we can proactively determine if there's a slow leak in our aging infrastructure that may result in a large leak? Or do we just rely on like a loss of pressure and someone reporting that their faucet is off? And all of a sudden we find out there's a hole in the middle of Douglas, like, you know, happened a couple weeks ago.
So when they're talking about real-time monitoring, that's not the pressure monitoring that you're talking about.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't think I know enough about our water system to know
Yeah.
if the pressure is monitored.
We can ask that
Yeah.
question.
but yeah, it's like, you know, cause if we're looking at reducing water usage, part of that is leaks and major and minor in our, in our system.
Okay, so that's actually a really good question. I don't know. I mean, there's gotta be, they obviously monitor pressure at the source.
Mhm.
But, you know, do they monitor pressure at, you know, different junctions throughout, you know, the city?
Right, Cause there's like test stands where they test the water quality across the
Right.
little blue boxes
Uh-huh.
that they installed a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And but that's for water quality as far as I know, that's not
That's what I
necessarily
heard, too.
for ongoing pressure.
Mhm.
And since pressure is it's a leading indicator that there's a leak and that you need to boil water. Think that might be a leading indicator of treated water loss in the
Yeah.
system.
Well, and it would be good to have it be internal, because I walked home and walked past this water that was just pouring out from under the curb
Mhm.
onto the street.
Mm.
The people that lived there didn't call it in, but I did, and I stood there and described the whole thing, and they did come and fix it within just a couple of days.
Right.
But I mean, people don't, I mean, and it was it was in front of a business, so it probably wasn't affecting the neighbors. You know, but they
Right.
certainly drove through it,
Mhm.
but they didn't call it in. But when I did, they finally, they came and fixed it, they had to tear up the whole street and everything.
But yeah, reduce the human impact, human input into the system and make it more automated.
Right, right, because you can't count on anybody reporting anything. Everybody's in a hurry to get someplace.
Right, but see
And
click
they don't know
fix,
who
I
to call
wrote it,
anyway.
I wrote it down because I mentioned it in transit, see click fix, if you don't know about it, look it up, report stuff. It gets fixed
We
quick,
can report drive violations as well.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I wrote this one about the energy efficiency measures, sometimes when the city start to expand, they start to adding like more houses to the piping network.
Mhm.
And sometimes the pumps we have may not designed to handle this capacity. Maybe like the pump oversized or undersized, Both of them, they may end up with energy off a little bit. You may consume more energy than what you need, especially if you have kind of recirculation lines and other stuff, I was attending like a seminar like last week, and this companies found that they don't have the right pump size, They have like overestimation for the pump. So the pump is taking more energy than needed, and waste a lot of energy within the fluid. Even you have the right pressure, but it's still pumping something, recycling back, and they may minimize this energy within this line to different line, But this is what I was referring to, monitoring the system,
Oh,
pressure, flow, recycling ratio, all this stuff, Some labs, they have kind of online monitoring for that by kind of online analyzers. They can know the quality, the flow, the pressure, all this stuff, So this is, I believe our city is taking care of that, but just, I mentioned just in case,
Mhm.
we have good engineers, but just reminder,
But when we wrote that, when Lizeth and Ethan, Lizeth mostly wrote it, that grant proposal that had the pumps included, you had that data.
Mhm.
So we do know that some of them are not very efficient, so
Yeah.
they do know.
But I will say the reason we did find out about the inefficiencies was because we got a bill from Evergy that was high. We got fined from Evergy, for the
Oh.
stormwater pump. So I think that's what flagged it. I'm not sure if there was previous, like regular monitoring of it. I do know the reason it was brought up and the reason it was specifically highlighted as a potential project was because of the fine from Evergy, so it can help us avoid fines in the future.
Mhm.
So to a couple points that have been made, and especially to the point of our great newcomer to the group, I think it's worth having someone from Public Works talk to our group. And Lizeth, I think you roll up through that, but I heard Gary Jansen speak at Rotary 2 weeks ago, and I thought he did a great job. And I feel like if we heard some of his talking points and his presentation to our group, it could help us better understand where we could fit in. I think as it relates to infrastructure upgrades like high energy efficient, water pumps, for lack of a better term. To Lori's point, I saw that. I've always kind of wondered if we should have done that. But there's just so much they're doing already around sustainability. And since we're talking about it, and there's just a lot that we don't know, it seems like this group should bring in an expert from that group to educate us a little bit more on how we can be a better partner to them.
Gary's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's certainly ask and see if that's something that they can fit into their schedule.
He's been here before, to speak on some topic that we asked about, but this was,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
I
so-
wonder, I'm sure he could if he's not already, very familiar with it, I'm sure he could educate himself on it. I mean, I know Gary over the years, him coming out to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Board, and I don't really know if pumps are his thing. They are maybe they have become his thing now that he's kind of in charge.
He'd know who to bring.
If he'd know who to
Yeah.
brim, even if,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, even if he hasn't educated himself on it already, which he probably has,
Yeah.
he'd know who to bring. So yeah,
Right,
let's,
right. And it may or may not have to be Gary. Gary's the person who I heard speak, but it could be
yeah,
somebody else as well.
Mhm.
that's a good plan. As you know, if we're thinking really seriously, as was emphasized in, seeing where we can add pressure to push for greater energy efficiency measures, then we need to know more about what is already being done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. We can reach out to Gary and then seeing if he can talk or if he thinks someone else might be a better person to come and talk to you guys. But I'll see if I can set that up maybe for October, November meeting.
Okay.
Good.
I'll also note that I tried to compile some current city efforts on the website under the city efforts page under sustainability. They're sorted by the focus areas we've been talking about for the climate action plan. But I've tried to pull stuff from all the departments that have shared things with us. So hopefully there's some other things that maybe if you aren't hearing about it yet, you can read about it there.
Are the departments doing a decent job reporting? I mean, are you getting responses?
Yeah, we've gotten responses. We've been
Okay.
able to organize some interdepartmental meetings to just talk sustainability.
I mean, I was just
different
imagining
topics.
that there would be some department that would say, Seb, what's that?
What?
Are they the new caterers?
I'm not, yeah, I think I let you guys know about this, but about, back in January, we started an departmental environmental team. So we have a representative from each department and we talk, every quarter about sustainability.
Well, that's
projects.
great.
Yeah, so we get a lot of information. We can inform them about different things, especially if a grant maybe isn't good for public works and it's maybe better for parks, we send it over to parks and stuff like that. So we are keeping them updated and they're keeping us updated on their projects.
Wow. Can we find out what they're talking about?
It's like internal meetings. We're not, I guess I don't know. I don't know what the rules are around surrounding
Talked
them.
about the climate action plan. That was our last.
Yeah, so you're talking about us. They need to know what they're talking about. I mean, what are they, that's what I'm saying.
Part-time city employee, Lori, just then just sit in.
Just considering everything.
Like, I'm here.
Well, anybody, I mean, even these meetings, although they're internal, they're not closed meetings. So people could go. But I work during the day, so I cannot go. So, but that's why I'm saying it would be nice to kind of know what kind of topics or what kind of progress and stuff, because we've been talking about that already. Be nice to have a list. And you were putting everything on the new sustainability page,
Right, yeah.
right?
That's-
I haven't
that's
looked at
the-
it again for a little while, so I need to
Yeah,
do
I just
that.
made some updates last week.
Can you call that up so that we can all see it?
Oh, sure. I can give you.
You're saying, oh, sure, when you're not the one doing
Sure,
it.
it can happen.
Oh, they fixed the
Did
www.
they?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fixed now.
Was something broken?
Well,
Oh,
for a
no.
while you had to type
a website.
www to pull up directly to the page.
Oh,
And now you can just type this
Ah.
and it
there
works.
it goes, nice.
Before it would just take you to the main page, but now we got this. So, yeah, the front page talks about the climate action plan at the top, but then we've got our,
So here's the draft plan and then the survey link as well. So it should be just the first thing that comes up.
Looks good.
if you go to the city's sustainability, efforts, that's what we've been
yeah.
talking about, yeah.
I don't think I've been to this page in
Yeah.
a long
Yeah,
time.
it was a little different before, but I've updated it.
Yeah.
So I tried to categorize kind of what we've been talking about more recently into the focus areas. And there's a lot of older information on it for departmental efforts previously, but I tried to just condense it down to a
Well,
few
no, that's
different
good
areas.
for just public information's sake.
Did you guys know the Broadview Hotel is LEED certified?
Really?
I know.
As of when?
I'd have to go
Wow.
back and find it. The Kansas Rural Center is having their conference there and they posted that. I'm like, and I looked at it, I'm sure enough.
You gonna go to that conference?
I mean,
I want to. I think I'm going to.
I might be there with a couple of my students.
Okay. Oh, they're great. They're great. Have you seen their
I've,
keynote and all
it's
that?
been a few years since I've been
Then
to.
I would support the
KRC.
It's nice to be
In fact, I
with
think
somebody
it
who's
was-
not a farmer.
I think the last time I went was the last time they were in Wichita, which was probably pre-COVID, but,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, a few other things I put together was available discounts and rebates. Things different people can, businesses and residents can take advantage of, some state level stuff and some federal stuff. And then a few technical assistance and research providers.
that's a good
Randy,
collection.
on our page.
Yeah, I had seen it earlier.
Put ICT trees, you put ICT trees up there.
Well, those are just, yeah, the first few that I had
It's
thought
not
of.
that I meant. I thought I was just here on the website. That's cool.
Yeah.
If you've got other groups you think should be listed, feel free to email.
Yeah, we're not trying to block anyone. It's just other people who have interacted with the board here. So those are the ones we know about. If you know other groups, you can definitely link them there as well.
Okay.
Just the bike walk, which, oh, bike walk, okay. No, it looks good. You did a great job with that. Thank you.
Ethan was definitely,
I love websites.
yeah, he was working on it.
Well, I'm gonna bookmark it now. Just like stuff there.
Yeah.
So so we've got some ideas about, the solar panels. We're gonna be inviting somebody to come and speak to us about, you know, the pumps and other things in regards to energy efficiency. Do we wanna reach out to another one of these and think about, you know, some, you know, developing some action items there? Or do we wanna say, okay, we've got some plans in place for a couple of these and, you know, call it good for now?
The other one you're kind of starting on, even with the climate action plan stuff, is the community engagement. If we've got 2 people at least signed up to table at open streets, so if we get any more, if there's other projects, other meetings, forums you guys would like to try to set up, we can definitely assist with some of the space reservation and things like that, but that is another thing I know that SIB is kind of within its duties to do.
You haven't gotten anybody else who wants to do open streets?
Actually, Laura, thank you. Laura emailed me and asked me what the times were and stuff. And so it sounds like she's available to volunteer.
Okay.
I mean, I will be there, but I'll be there like walking our dog with my wife and maybe 1 or 2 of our kids, so. Not gonna hang out at the table.
Yeah,
I'll
but I
stop
don't
at the
even
table
know
though.
where the table is going to be.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten assigned our spot yet, so I'm not sure. Last
you make
year
a
we were in front of
request?
East High.
Okay.
Yeah,
we took
so
care of the
it was
request,
a
but-
good spot. We got a good spot.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, and that I can walk to.
Yeah, and we get there early enough to where we can pick a good spot. Last year, we tried to get away from like the emergency response because they're blowing the tornado siren and letting kids press it, so we tried to.
You got to choose your own spot.
Yeah, so we get assigned an area and within that
Oh.
area, we can choose where to set up, as long as we've registered and we registered 2 tables, 1 person.
I don't think I ever knew. I
Yeah.
thought that they
Yeah.
assigned.
You can
pretty
tell them where
specific
you'd like to
locations.
be. You may not always get it, but that's what we had always done when SOAR had done it, so,
That's
yeah.
cool. That's cool.
So we have like 3 points right now. The energy efficiency, right?
Yes.
And the community engagement
Mhm.
and the floating solar panels, right?
Yes.
Yep.
This should be like the 3 higher priority, so we can screen later and gather information, or
What do you mean?
I mean, like, we have like few action items for everyone, you know.
Mhm.
For the floating solar panel, we need to identify location. We need to work on the parameters, you know, and get together, write a proposal, you know. And for the major energy efficiency, we have action plan, as you mentioned, to invite people from the public work. So should we work in parallel for these 3 efforts, or? This is my question, you know.
Definitely up to you guys how you guys would like to split that up. For as far as someone for Public Works, Ethan and I will take care of that. We'll find the best person to come talk to you guys. If you guys want to work further and kind of research more for a proposal or anything like that, I mean, that is up to you how you guys would like to split that work up or what you guys would like to do in relations to that.
But for the energy efficiency, we might not be able to send the proposal, you know? And this might be part of the city work, public work, you know?
Mhm.
But for other projects like solar panels floating, we might have demonstration from our side, you know?
Mhm.
There are two different scopes. This is my point. This is different scope. We have no control about this infrastructure, underground pumps.
Mhm.
We may advise, give recommendations, you know? We can give more insights.
Well, I think we were also hoping to be able to learn about what they are doing so that we might be able to see if there's gaps and
Yes,
there might be,
yes.
you know, areas
Can fix the
where
gap,
we
yes.
could like start, you know, developing a plan for pitching proposals and whatnot. So we need to find more information there. For the first one, I mean, I think most of us are broadly, you know, understanding what needs to be done. It's probably just a matter of assigning people to do. I mean, we could all do it.
Sure.
Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Board was really big on creating little subcommittees. My understanding from Lori is that this board originally was like all subcommittees.
We had lots of subcommittees.
And,
yeah.
and maybe we don't wanna go that route, or maybe this is targeted enough that it's, you know, reasonable to, you know, ask a couple of people to, okay, so we're gonna scout out sites and identify people to contact, you know, things like that.
You could also wait to see what the grant on October 15th looks like, to see if you want to tailor a proposal maybe to that grant as well. I don't know if you'd like to wait or not, but I think if anything were to go to council, I think council would appreciate if there was funding, an idea of to where the funding was gonna come from.
Well, but I was thinking that we needed to get, you know, some, you know, specific information about a particular location. And so we could have some specs on,
Yeah.
you know, what kind of money that we would be needing to talk about.
Yes.
So who is in charge of the water treatment plant? If that's what we're looking at, is there retention ponds?
Which water treatment plant?
The new one,
The new one?
the new
Okay.
one,
The new
not
one.
wastewater, but the
Okay,
new
not
one.
wastewater.
Who is that? I don't even know who wastewater is anymore that Rebecca's on.
Well, Don Henry's like the overall for
Yeah.
that,
Okay, who?
Who?
Assistant Director Don Henry.
Yeah,
He's like utilities, so he's covering a lot of the water and wastewater and a few other things, but
He's right under Gary. So he's Assistant Director of Public Works, one of the assistant directors.
That's a lot for him to handle on his own. I mean, that's a
well,
lot.
there's several division managers as well, but I guess it really depends what you're specifically asking about.
So
Like,
he
there's
might,
no-
he
there's
might.
no
be the-
one person who
So he
does
might be the
everything.
person to approach to find out who is the person that we need to talk to,
Right.
who would have some kind of supervisory authority over a project like this, like, hey, we got this idea. And we want to explore how much it would cost and if we can find the funding for it and so forth. It involves putting solar panels on a retaining pond. And we'd like to start with one of the ones up off of you know, off of the new plant, by the new plant.
Zoo Boulevard.
Right. What's the cross street there? For-
Zoo Boulevard.
Like in
No,
Viking,
they're further north.
feed us.
Aren't
Yeah.
they like 25th or whatever?
It's like, they start at Zoo Boulevard, but they go further than that. They basically continue on. So there's Zoo Boulevard. Yeah.
So the scope of the project would be looking at retention ponds specifically for solar installation.
Right, and water pumps.
Well,
The objective is water conservation, you know, as a demonstration site. And we generate electricity, you know, so we are trying to validate the concept, you know. And after that, we can move. But we need to see if it's also to help us to be off taker for the electricity. Or we have to see if we have to make, as we discussed today, you know, charging a station or something like that for electric vehicles.
Do they have a concern up there with evaporation? Do they have a concern with that?
Well, they've gotta have a
Level.
concern about evaporation.
You would think they
It
would.
might not be a top ranked concern, but I
Key
mean,
Lake, yeah.
obviously. They're gonna be cognizant of, you know, evaporation there.
Right.
They've gotta have that built into their plan somewhere.
But that's what to me, that might be the best way to approach this initially,
Oh, yeah,
is to talk about
Water
water.
yeah.
Talk about water, and then, oh, by the way,
Focus on water, and one of the
this
ways,
could give you some
it just so
power.
happens that there is this technology that's really good at limiting water evaporation that also generates solar power.
Right.
So,
Right.
and if it's, you know, and we could say, and this won't be tripped up by the county's moratorium because it's only this size, and, you know, and anyway, let's just start. Let's find out who the appropriate person to talk to, and
Shake the idea with Sam, you know, see what we get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those ponds are in city of Wichita,
Yeah.
some are not.
Mm.
Basically between 53rd Street North through Zoo Boulevard. 235.
yeah, but we're looking at the ones specifically part of the industrial plant that's part of the
Yeah, so
water treatment. So,
oh, so that would be like here, yeah,
yeah,
it'd be like in here.
yeah, those.
Yeah. And those are probably a little smaller too, which might be wise to start with something smaller. Just to,
Yep.
as a test.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is, in progress.
What are they saying is the new the new date for it to come online?
I believe April.
So now's the time to put
There's
stuff in
a-
place.
Well, I mean, it's not like, it's not like 8-7 months is gonna be enough time to
Right.
put all this together, but
Yeah.
it's a good time to start talking.
Right,
about it.
right,
Yeah, because it's not even online yet.
right.
Interesting. Cool.
Okay, yeah, so we'll try and find someone, it might be a couple people to talk about water conservation and then just the retention ponds and those kinds of things. But yeah, we'll try and find someone hopefully for the October meeting.
And next Friday.
Well, I wasn't I wasn't talking about like having them come to the meeting. It was more of like finding out who the people are so that one or more members of the board can, you know, put together like, you know, just a conversation with them and say, this is some of the things that we're talking about on the SIB. And how does that sound to you? I mean, you know, we don't have the money to do it. We haven't gone through all the approval process to do it, but you know, we're thinking this might be a good place to test it out. You know, what do you think?
Exactly.
Okay, I see, yeah, we can definitely try and find you guys a name or contact info for someone.
I was just gonna add that there's a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new water treatment plant happening next Friday. I think the governor's gonna be there and,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's in the morning, I believe that.
It's like October 4th.
Still like 8 months before,
11:30.
before it's actually on.
Well, I think they scheduled the ceremony, ahead of.
Oh, back when,
just to get it on
back with
calendars.
with the earlier projected
I
finish
believe that
date.
is why it's in October now, but.
Yeah. If the governor's gonna be there, you have to schedule.
So
it
do,
anyway.
so do you have
Yeah.
so do you have a specific date and time for that?
11:30 next Friday.
11:30 next Friday,
So yeah, it'll be happening at the treatment plant.
11:30 on. It would be
And this
the
is
4th.
like open to the public, right? So
I believe so. I'm not sure how.
If
We
not,
talked about it at conference,
I'm gonna have-
so I
I'm
just
gonna
hang
have-
out the Zoom. Pretty sure everyone's watching.
I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
class. I'm not gonna be able to make, that would be fun though. Honestly, it would.
yeah, right.
I mean, I find nerdy things like that fun.
I mean, I once wrote a letter to the operator of the wastewater treatment plant asking for a postcard back, and she sent one back. It was great.
Yeah, Becky was
A
great.
Also
postcard?
giving tours afterwards too, if you'd like to tour.
Do they have postcards of the water treatment?
It could, yeah.
That's part of the whole PR rollout. You know, we got postcards, we got swag.
We've been finding all the drought informational stuff, the posters and the yard signs and such, I think it's dead right now.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe the person that we're talking about is the one that came to the Sierra Club meeting and brought video of the build out.
Was it Bill Perkins?
Remember the
It
name?
sounds like a bill.
Yeah, because I remember Bill also gave one for a different meeting. I remember League of Women Voters was there, but I can't remember what the
Remember the
meeting
big guy?
was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's actually no longer at the city.
He
I
retired.
believe he retired in December.
Huh, well,
But he
yeah.
spent a long time looking. at
That was
treatment plant.
probably him then. That was really interesting. And the drone footage was really cool to see.
I believe that's still online at the city's YouTube page. I believe. From my understanding, is a YouTube video of like the drone video that they shot of it while it was being constructed.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
If we are done with that discussion, we do have one last discussion item. And that is for the chair of the board. So I'm just going over responsibilities of the chair. They usually run the meeting, so instead of hearing me start it and ask for the approval of minutes, it'll be the chair. And then I send the agenda to them a couple weeks before the meeting for approval or for items that they would like to talk about in case that hasn't already been discussed by the board. So yeah, that's kind of the responsibilities, keeping the board in order, you know, sending out any, if they're gonna cancel, or the chair is usually the one who makes that decision, and just kind of running the meeting. So yeah.
Are there applications for the chairs? So
No.
how forward if someone need to
I think,
apply for that?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you would say it now, and then if there's not multiple people, I think we just vote to approve and,
I can send the application to you, you know.
oh, there's no application.
No application.
No, it's just
saying,
whoever
I'll
wants
do
to-
it.
Pick somebody.
And we say
Yeah.
my condolences.
For other, like boards, like we have kind of application. You can see the candidate skills application in terms of education skills, previous projects. Something has the knowledge, you know.
But it's just us.
I'm
It's
just
just
asking, you
us.
know.
It's the
Yeah,
board
it's just
decision,
us.
Yeah, like I served as transit advisory chair and it was just like sure, I'll do it. That was
Just
it.
voting, right?
Yeah, just we vote. If you would
It's
serve.
very simple, you know.
Yeah.
I've heard for other people, you know, you have to prove that you are qualified for this position, you know. Not only voting, you have to have kind of minimum qualifications.
I believe there are no minimum qualifications.
I'm
For the
not-
sustainability integration.
Do you want me to nominate you? Is that what you're implying? I feel like that's what you're implying. I nominate
Go ahead.
you as chair.
No, I'm
Second.
just asking. You've been nominated.
You've been nominated. Will you accept? Do you accept?
Aye.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, all those in favor of Ibrahim becoming the chair, say aye.
Aye.
All right, okay, it sounds like you're a new chair. Yeah, that's
My
it.
condolences.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to be vice chair since we got that out of the way so quickly?
I'll put forward my name as, I'll nominate myself for vice chair.
Okay, I will
Excellent.
second that nomination.
Awesome, okay, all those in favor of Russell being vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, you're vice chair.
That was quick.
All right, so I will hand over the rest of the agenda. It's
Cannot
just.
imagine that, very straight.
Just ask for public comment.
Yeah, just ask for
That's
public
it.
comment, and then at the
Oh,
end, you
that's
can
it.
adjourn the meeting.
Sure, yes. Are there any public comments?
There's only one public here.
No, not today.
Sometimes at the meeting, some people come with public comments from the family or friends, you know, say, I have, my neighbor says that or this, that's why I'm asking.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Drive Electric Week is on the 5th of October at County Square along the north parking lot by Dillard's.
Okay.
Yeah, from 10 to 1. All are welcome. Come and see the EVs, come and talk to drivers. We've got we even have a cyber truck coming. I'm
Oh,
excited
wow.
to see that ugly thing up close and personal. Ugh. Yeah.
It is technically electric.
It is, but I mean, we've got a whole bunch of different ones that are coming, so that's really exciting.
Cool.
It'll be fun. Everybody's welcome. That's about it.
Very good, yeah. So you should be okay?
So if you just want to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, we'll end the meeting, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you guys. I'll
Thank you.
send out some
Thank you.
items tomorrow through email, but if you have any other questions or anything or proposal ideas, like we said, just email Ethan or I. Thank you guys.
James already got his email to us.
Oh,
I'll be watching for information on that grant.
Sounds good.
yes, we'll send it out as soon as the NOFO comes out.
I'm up for anything that's not a federal grant because I just spent 2 weeks writing a federal grant and
Oh, man, yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.